Well, I mean, I grew up as a cradle Catholic, so I was basically, how I kind of describe it is like I was forced to go to Mass, forced to go to church. My parents were very involved. I call them like hardcore Catholics because every night they make you do prayer, and I would pretend to fall asleep just so I wouldn't finish our Father prayer or the Hail Mary. Even going to Mass, I would fall asleep in the car, so I'm like, oh well, like I don't need to celebrate the Mass. But when I started growing up, like I understood the faith a little bit more, and I started getting into the role of being a golden child. And I mean, I feel like a lot of people already know what that is, but it's just basically being like, oh, the favorite child, like you're the goody two shoes, you're the innocent one. When in reality, I really wasn't innocent. During those times, I was struggling with pornography, and I feel like with the ladies, you don't usually hear that, and it's more with men. But I was struggling with it, no one knew, struggling for like 2 years, and then my parents caught me, and that feeling of being caught was like, whoa, like my heart was not there, like maybe this was a wake-up call, and I never felt like my parents were never disappointed in me until that fact, and they were just like, what was wrong with you, like what's going on? And like, I mean, they didn't say those words fully, but it just felt like that, like maybe the devil was telling me that in my ear. So after that, I was just like, well, like what else am I supposed to do? Like God doesn't love me because I did that. Like I watched other, like I didn't know the definition of love because of that. So it was hard getting back up from there. But I mean, I just kept going to church. I kept going to adoration. My mom goes every Monday, so I went with her. But I was kind of just staring at the Eucharist, like, why am I kind of kneeling down in front of a piece of bread, you know? Like, I was like, I'm like not being weird, but it's like there's a dead guy in the crowd. It's like, why are we, you know, seeing it like that? And it's like, what's the point of that? So yeah, it's just kind of like my heart was like stoned. Like there's nothing I can clean up. Like I tend to see my heart as a house, and it's all messy, like you can't walk in it, and that's what I felt like. Even with confessions, after my dad found out that I was watching pornography, he made me the next Sunday go to church, confess it. But even then, like, you know how Catholics are, we squish the bad news and good things. And so I was just like, oh, this, oh yeah, I did this. And I didn't even describe it fully, like I didn't name the sin. So still in my heart regardless. But yeah, so high school came around and starting to like boys, and like that was kind of affecting my relationship with my first like ever love. But I still had my boundaries, still had my limits in that. And he got me into the faith because I just saw how much he like loved God, and I'm like, I need a taste of that. Like maybe that's gonna help me, and like it did help me like grow, but maybe it was still forced because I'm like, oh, like I love that attention. Maybe God will give me that attention too. And I became a people pleaser. Like I was just doing it for him to love me more, to the point where I realized like it's not for me. Like I was starting to people please so many people and saying yes, and I was giving them so much of my love, which I probably didn't even have any love in me. So it was getting harder until my heart was still getting much more like stoned, getting more messier, that I can't even walk in my house anymore when God was just trying to knock and try and help me clean, debrief, like, what's that show called? Like The Hoarders or something. Like that's basically kind of how it was. But yeah, so I was at that period of time, and like I did go to retreats, but it just didn't hit me. Like it didn't like, boom, here you go. Until like junior year, I met a good friend at retreat, and like he showed me what love was. He showed me like God is there for you, but unfortunately he passed away and was hit by a semi-truck. So that put me down even further. Like I was like, God, like are you even listening to me right now? Like I did better and you decided to do this. And I was just so mad at him. Like my parents weren't there to support me during his death. Like, and I've never mourned an individual before, and it was really hard, and then COVID hit, so that made it even worse. And like I don't know, it just hurt knowing that he like took away someone that I truly loved, showed me the definition of love, knowing that God is love, but he took it away. And that was my mindset for a minute. Like it was just there, and that continued till senior year, and like until I got here. But yeah, so my heart was pretty messy before I came here, and it was all because of those life-changing events, and I didn't have anyone. There was no one there supporting me. But yeah, so it was hard. It was just more of like going through the motions still. So yeah. So when I was applying for colleges, like my parents have always told me, because they're not they are first generation. My mom didn't get the opportunity to go to college, and my dad did because his dad died, and he's like, you know what, I'll owe it to him and be able to do this for him. So my dad kind of engraved it in our heads that we have to go to college. Like, I didn't think there was anything other after high school. It was either work or move out of the house or go to college. So I was like, you know what, I'll just go to college. So when I was applying for colleges, I didn't know about any Newman Centers. I had no idea what those were. So I just applied because of my major is elementary education. So I was like, this is the best teaching program there is in Arizona. And I want to move far away, but not as far away as I want from my family, you know? Like, so I have still time to like go back and visit them when I am homesick and come back when I need to. Because I did need that self-growth. So yeah, and so my dad told me that if we get a scholarship to any college, we get to go anywhere. And that was the deal. So I got the scholarship at NAU. Thank you, God, or else I wouldn't be here. But yeah, so I already planned to go to NAU after that. And one of my best friends, Bella, she actually, like, I've known her since middle school, I believe, and we played soccer on a team. So known her since then, and then we broke contact for all of high school, even though we went to the same high school. And then all of a sudden, I see her on Snapchat, and she's like, hey, and I was like, oh, hi, you know? And she was just basically saying, like, hey, I heard that you're going to NAU, and like, would you be down to come to Sunday Mass with me? And with this thought, I was like, oh, heck no. Like, you know, I'm not gonna, I mean, I didn't want to text her that, but I was like, heck no. I was gonna stop doing my faith when I came to college. I'm done with that. Like, I don't need that, because I was still in that mindset of like, you know, God, like, you took away him. Like, why? I'm not doing this for you anymore. And so, but something was telling me to like answer back. And so I was like, you know what? Like, I guess I'll say yes. And so I said yes. She got me to the Newman Center. She's like, hey, there's welcome week events. You want to come? And I was like, I guess. Like, you know, I'm like a very shy person, and now the Newman Center changed me and became extrovert. So everyone, yeah, you know. And so I was very introvert. I was very shy. And so I was like, you know what? We're gonna change myself. It's time to change. It's time to grow. And so I came. My goodness, I don't even remember the events, but like Carne Asada night, I met Isabel. I met Courtney, who is now my Bible study leader. But yeah, and that's kind of where it started. And I was like, wow, this community feels like home. Like, it was a home away from home, and like I felt so much love. Like, people, I feel like a lot of Catholics, you see it in their faces. You see the joy that God presents to them with the Holy Spirit, with our Mother Mary. And that's what I felt. That's what I saw. And I'm like, maybe if something's happening here. So there's like a spirit happening, you know, something's going on. And so I decided to just keep going with her, and she kept inviting me, and I was like, you know what, let's keep going. Let's do it. I want to grow. I want to see what these people have that I need. Maybe it'll help me like clean up my house and my heart. And so with that, the Lumberjack Awakening retreat was, you know, coming about, and I was like, you know what, let's do this. Let's see what's all this is all about. I've been to retreats. Maybe this one would be good. And I told my parents, they're like, oh, I'll pay for it. And I'm like, whoa, you guys never pay for these stuff. I was like, all right, I guess I'll take your money. Like, I'm a broke college student. I'll take it, even though it's $50. But yeah, and so I went, and I mean, there was this just joy. You see the missionaries coming in, and they're just like, hey, like, what's going on? Like, come in. And I'm like, hey, yo, like, it's 5 o'clock on a Friday. I had school, I had work, chill out. And, but I mean, that joy was so good. And I was like, okay, maybe there's something about it. Like, we started playing games, and I was like, okay, maybe I'm liking this. I like how this is going. And I mean, Courtney was there, my Bible study leader, and she's like, Yaz, you're in my group. And I was like, and like, now I'm like, I'm not that close with you yet. Like, I need to calm down. And yeah, and then, you know, the first night, boom, they hit you hard with so many things, and it's just like so life-giving. And that adoration night, day one, like, it was just like, wow. Like, I sat there and I was like, Lord, this is all for you. I'm giving it to you. Like, if you want to take it from me, take it. But I'm here for you. Please take it. And I just sat there, and all of a sudden, you know how God works. I'm just like bawling my eyes out. And I gave him the sin of like pornography. I gave him, like, genuinely gave it to him. I admitted it to it in confession. I was like, Lord, like, I don't want it anymore. I don't need this anymore. I realize that you are love, and that's my example of it all. And so I gave it to him, and then also, like, every other sin of, like, not even a sin, even my friend passing away, like, I stopped being mad at him at that night one. I realized, like, things happen for a reason, and I might not ever always understand it, but I just need to trust in him. And it's okay to be mad. I feel like a lot of people say to you, like, Like, I'm like, oh, I'm so mad at you, Lord, but it's okay because you're gonna help me. And sometimes I just have to put a period after that, like, just to express it. And I came to that realization that night that I'm like, Lord, I'm mad at you. That's it. And that's where I'm going. And to the point that made me feel peaceful. That made me realize that the Lord was waiting outside my heart, the house of my heart. And because he's such a gentleman that he's waiting to knock. He's waiting for us to open the door to him. And I did. I opened it up for him that night, and he's like, you know what? Come over here, my child. Like, come sit with me. Even if it's in this mess, like, there's a big pile of trash right here. Just come sit with me right here in the middle of it. Let's use it as bean bags. And I'm like, all right, I mean, that's fine with me, I guess. You know? And so we just sat there, and I mean, we just talked. And, like, I know a lot of people say you can't hear him. And even in the silence of it all, like, I still heard him. And, like, I'm just crying and overjoyed, and he's, like, helping me grab the trash bags. He's like, let's go to the trash. You don't need this no more. And it's like, you know, we're hauling it. That's all those images that come in my head, and that's how I feel like he talks to me, even if it's me just putting it in my head. But, yeah, it's just, ever since that point, I felt like, okay, like, he's here. He's with me. Like, he's right now with me. Like, I imagine him with his shoulder, like, his hand on my shoulder, like, you got this, like, just talk what you have to talk. And so that's where I'm at, and that's, like, obviously my heart's still dirty, and, like, we're not perfect as children of Christ. And that retreat made me realize that I am loved. And the phrase that I always use, like, is like, I am Yazmin Navarro, I am a daughter of Jesus Christ, and I'm loved. And it's like, that retreat made me realize that that's who I am as an individual, which I'm beyond lucky for. Well, I continued to be in the Bible study with Courtney after the retreat, and I, like, started to figure out, like, we start off with the crux, and I started to connect the points. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, the crown of thorns, the tree of Adam and Eve. I was like, yo, like, this is crazy, like, you know, or, like, it's the cross, and yeah. And so that, like, blew my mind. But that sense of being a people pleaser, I didn't give up. So it was still in my head saying, like, oh, like, she asked me, she's like, Yazmin, I want you to lead a Bible study. I think you are ready for it. And I'm like, you're so funny, because I actually not. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. And so, because of my people pleaser mindset, I'm like, if I do this, it's going to be because of my parents. If I do this, they're going to be, like, happy for me. I don't want to be in that golden child identity. I am a child of Christ, and I know that's who I am, but why can't I believe that? And so it's to that point where she, like, told me, like, Yazmin, go sit in the silence with our Lord. Ask him why you people please so much with people on earth and not with God, in a sense. Even though that's such a, like, a bad negative connotation to it, being like, we have to people please Jesus. But it's like, we have to show him who we are, and, like, we should be doing it for him, not for anyone else. And so, I mean, it kind of made me realize that, okay, like, it's not for my parents. It's not even for me, it's for him. And so I'm like, you know what? Maybe this is what he's calling me to do. And so I'm now leading a Bible study with 3 beautiful girls. Sorry, I was counting them. I was like, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so I'm leading them with 3 beautiful girls. Like Caitlin and Melissa. And it's just been a ride. It's been my passion to, like, lead them to Christ. I'm also very pushy. I'm a Latina. That's what I do. And I'm like, you're ready for discipleship. You're doing it. And they're just like, what? And I was like, I love you. It's all out of love because I love you. And so it's like that Mexican mom is coming out of me. But yeah, so I'm discipling 2 girls, and we're talking about our feminine gifts right now. And it's beautiful to see their aspect, like, of femininity change, because I feel like in this world there's a lot of feminists. And so they're realizing that it's okay to be receptive to men, and to realize that we have all unique feminine gifts that without us being coincided with another, the world wouldn't work, in a sense. So that's what I'm doing with them. Also leading discipleship. I'm also in a Bible study and also being discipled. You know, never too late to keep doing that before I leave. But yeah, I also recently got called to be a leader for our, like, retreat, which is actually kind of mind-blowing when I was thinking about it. Being asked, literally attending it, being mind-blown about it, changing my life, to now leading it is, like, yeah, taking a step back from that was crazy. And, like, realizing, like, yeah, I have a team of people behind me, but it's like, I also did this. Like, I changed their perspective. They're in the shoes where I was, and now I get to see them being changed, like, being converted, I guess, in a sense, being more identified as daughters and sons of Christ, and like seeing them bawl, and I'm like, yes, you're crying, I need you to cry, you know, and like if they're not crying, I'm like, why are you not crying, you know? But you know, you don't need to cry every single time you're in adoration, but I would love for you to cry. Yeah, so I think it's mind-blowing, and it's like, even then when they asked me, I had to take a couple days to think about it, because I'm like, Lord, am I good enough? Like, am I good enough to be able to do this for you? Because this is such a high position that I'm like, no, I can't do this. You're crazy. Like, what can my life do for you? Like, for these retreatants who are coming and like seeking you, who are barely starting to grow in their relationship, or who have already been in their relationship with you, but they're like on fire for you. So what can I do? And it's so hard to like, because I'm a people pleaser. I'm like, once again, back to my little freshman year self. I'm like, is this for yourself? Is this for your parents? Is this for who? Yes, because it's between you or God. And through Christ, like obviously dying on the cross for us, it's that path of the cross for us to walk towards Him. And so took a step back, and obviously I said yes. And I mean, I will do it again, but you know, gotta pass on the torch to everybody. And I'm excited for our new coach to be able to do it. But yeah, so I've been doing that. Yeah, I literally don't see anything else. I've also been asked to help out with my parents back home, being a leader for their youth group. Yeah, so I'm excited for that. I'm not gonna plug them, but you know. But I'm excited to do that. Their group is like, it's really hard with youth. I think college youths are easier to like form their minds, and with like little kids from 12 to like 18 or even younger, it's hard for them to realize, oh, God is here, like what's this man doing here, you know, and realize that He is love, He did this and did all this stuff. So it's gonna be challenging, but I'm excited to bring some Newman night stuff back over there to Chandler, and just be there with them. And they're gonna look at me like one of those retreat people at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, like, why are you so happy right now? But I'm excited to annoy them and show the love of the Lord, share the gospel with them, because I feel like everyone deserves it, even though it's going to be a little harder now that I'm not going to have the Newman Center, but you got to do what you got to do, you know?
Did you watch The Bachelor?
No.
Okay, no worries. Never mind.
It's a new one? I just heard about Maria and...
Okay.
You know, Kelsey.
One of the girls was Daisy. You know Daisy then? You heard Daisy?
Yeah.
Okay. Her nickname was Daisy Days, so that's why I just
Oh.
said yes. Okay.